So Mostafa is one of the most knowledgeable person in the BIM and digital transformation in the Middle East. So very happy to host.
So very happy to host.
Yeah.
Maybe I will first present a little bit the channel, Agile BIM, the community, and after I will give you the speak to present yourself, Mostafa. It's okay?
Sure.
So I share my screen. It's here. Okay. So here it's Agile BIM community and the Agile BIM YouTube channel. And basically, we started 3 years ago by organizing some meetup about the agility in the field of construction. So we have on the channel you can find some Agile BIM meetup here, which was the first format of meetup with 1 or 2 or even 3 speakers talking about the agility in the field of construction. So you could listen to them. It's still very interesting. And after we are like broadening a bit the thematic. So Bilal organized a new series about more focused about the BIM. So agility is still a thematic. But so I am just searching this one, the World Cup of BIM. So here we are now for the fourth episode of this World Cup of BIM. So the idea of this series is to listen to many experts around the world to talk about how is BIM in that specific country, what is the difficulty, what is the success, or what are the methods, and so on. And how about the collaboration? Is it agile, not agile, or to improve it, and so on. And me personally, I am currently focusing on architecture, artificial intelligence. So it's my new team of research. And now I'm producing some short video of 15 minutes in English or 20 sometimes. For now, I don't interview people, but I plan to interview also some experts at the beginning of next year. So if you are interested in the team of artificial intelligence, you could also watch. So basically, we now focus on the globally the innovation in the field of AEC. So be it AI, Agile, or BIM. So now, Mostafa, I can, please present yourself if you want.
Thanks a lot, Sebastian, and happy to be part of this series and also part of this conversation on this channel. So I'm Mostafa ElAshmawy. I'm the head of BIM and GIS at WSP Middle East, responsible mainly for BIM and digital delivery for a business unit called Project Management Services. Let me, if you will share the slides, yeah, maybe I can go through this directly. A brief about me, so and what I do and why I'm here in this session speaking about BIM in Saudi Arabia. So I've been living in Saudi Arabia for the last 10 to 11 years. Since 2013, so almost all my career in BIM was in Saudi Arabia. I worked in both the production side for BIM and the management side. So I worked for a design and build contractor for a long time. I worked as a lecturer for many BIM software, and then also for some of the masters in BIM for civil engineering, and also BIM and GIS as part of Ziggurat Institute of Technology. I'm also an ambassador for NEMA. This is a new thing, and I'm honored to have this recently, an international ambassador for them. So hopefully I can be a good representative to the great work that NEMA are doing in the information management realm. Back to the point where I wanted to explain, because when Bilal reached out to me to talk about BIM in Saudi Arabia, I told him I think I'm not the best one to do so. I think Saudi Arabia have lots of great talents and great experts that can speak much more. However, I looked about these 11 years, and I think I saw a huge change in Saudi Arabia during this period, and I think I would be honored and pleased to speak about this experience as an observer to how BIM has developed through these years. So I hope that during this session you take it from me as just an observer. I'm not representing uh, anybody officially, but it's my personal perspective based on my presence in Saudi Arabia. Also, another disclaimer: I have a flu today, so excuse me if my voice is a bit not clear. Yeah, so Sebastian, back to you if you want to focus on a specific question.
I don't know what Bilal has planned. Do you have a presentation? Maybe you could start.
Yeah,
After
I
this
think
question, and hopefully Francois could join us, and he will do the Q&A part maybe.
Okay, great. So between me and Bilal, he made me aware of the format. Mainly, we have 4 sections in this presentation. So firstly, I'll speak about the BIM status, and then about the BIM challenges in Saudi Arabia, and then I'll go through let's say the typical process of how we are delivering BIM here. Also, there will be part for Q&A at the end. So I'll start by my first section about the BIM status here in Saudi Arabia. So if we will speak about any advancement related to the construction here in Saudi Arabia, so from my perspective, the main, let's say, the catalyst for this advancement is the giga projects. So while some countries might have national BIM standards or national mandate, in Saudi Arabia, BIM has been driven for the last few years through the lead of the giga projects, large projects like NEOM, like Red Sea, Duraya Gate, Qiddiya, all of these huge projects that have lots and lots of stakeholders, they mandated BIM as a digital delivery. Not only BIM, they have larger scope of digital delivery, but their information requirements that mandated BIM accelerated the BIM implementation through the country. So it's typical in any of these projects to find that BIM is required from all consultants or contractors involved in this project. While saying so, that the projects actually were the accelerator for this advancement in the BIM field, recently there are also more of formal approach in mandating BIM. This is in Arabic. I was not able to find the same announcement in English because it was just published recently by Saudi Council of Engineer, and also as collaboration with Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. So recently it's became a mandate or a requirement to deliver all drawings and the drawings that are part of permits requests and this kind of formal requests. It must have now BIM as a deliverable to get such approvals. So it's from my personal perspective, it was a long-awaited step. However, I think even without making this formal, we are at this point already, because most of the large projects in Saudi Arabia already implementing BIM and have their drawings initiated out of BIM models. When we speak about also the BIM status here in Saudi Arabia, BIM is usually requested in most of the projects in Saudi Arabia as per the international BIM standards ISO 19650. So it's very easy for you to check the requirements for any large project here in Saudi Arabia, and you'll find direct references to ISO 19650 and let's say great trials in compliance with what these standards requesting. So the main focus usually is related to part 1 and part 2 of these standards, which are related to the delivery of the project from concept till the handover. However, and based on this compliance with such requirements, the clients here have information requirements. They explain in these information requirements the expectations from consultants and contractors. While this seems perfect, but when it comes to the details, yeah, still there are much more of development needed in this area, where sometimes there is a disconnection between the information requirements and the contractual scope. Sometimes there is a disconnection, and I'll speak about this in the challenges part. But the main reference that govern, or let's say the main reference that's used in most of the projects that's implementing BIM nowadays in Saudi Arabia refers to ISO 19650 and its parts as the main reference. Software, the software realm is very important. I used to classify BIM into two major areas or domains. So the software domain is very important, and while there are lots of software being used in Saudi Arabia from lots and lots of vendors, there is some dominance from specific vendors on the market, which sometimes is healthy from some perspectives, where it's easy to find everybody, for example, in the modeling part, agreeing that they will deliver Revit models. So usually it's almost agreed that any BIM models will be delivered in this format. However, it represents a barrier when it comes to interoperability with other systems and with other even software. So again, I'll speak about this in more detail at the challenge part, but I see that while observing the status, I can see that there is some dominance from Autodesk on the BIM software market in Saudi Arabia, and also I can see that there are great software also, or new software that's quickly acquiring land in Saudi Arabia, let's say, or acquiring new customers in Saudi Arabia. For example, Revisto, for example, Synchro for 4D, Fuser for 4D. Also, there is a space for software that really solves some of the issues in the BIM implementation, and I think, as I mentioned, I'll cover this in the challenges where the opportunity is available. So for this section, this is the main points that I can observe as a current status. There is to summarize and a look on the importance of information management, ISO 19650 is leading on this. There is dominance for some software on the market. There is also implementation driven through the projects without a national standard, and also recent mandate from the authorities for BIM. So this is as a summary. In the next section, I'll go through the challenges that I see forming a major challenge, and at the same time opportunity for advancement and opportunity for new stakeholders that want to enter the Saudi market, whether they are new talents, new skills people, or whether it's vendors, or whether it's consultants or contractors. So going to this section, the major challenge that I find when we implement BIM, and I think it's not only about Saudi Arabia specifically for this one, it's worldwide issues that I can see. There are several perspectives of BIM, and the word BIM is always perceived with different understanding by different people due to their knowledge and experience, and due to their position in the, let's say, the supply chain or in the delivery team. So sometimes when an engineer at the client side responsible for design speaks about BIM, he means totally different thing than a planner at the contractor side speaking about BIM. And while the information requirements and the BIM protocol provided by the client's teams usually tries to set these kind of definitions, these kind of expectations, it's still very hard to get everybody involved in the project have the same understanding of BIM. I see this as an important challenge, and I see again an area for improvement here where more attention need to be taken by the BIM teams from the various stakeholders, from clients, from consultants, contractors, and every BIM expert to ensure that his team is fully aware of the overall project's BIM goals and objectives, and also to get them to be aware of their organizational BIM scope. So if you are working in the contractor side, you need to get your team fully aware of what's the actual expectation from BIM for your organization. Another yeah, hi Francois.
Sorry, hello. Sorry for the delay. So that's interesting, and there is a question from Bilal Drudi that say, from your perspective, will this circle face a resistance from consultant and contractor? So
he's referring to this specific one, or was it related to from your perspective?
No, the circle, it was a previous slide, I think. But yes, you say that people have to be involved, have to be engaged. You have to engage your team. But is there a specific resistance before?
Yeah, I agree that there is usually resistance, but I'll speak on this in detail in another slide, speaking about the return of investment dilemma, because it's always where the resistance comes when people still think about BIM as an opportunity for investment rather than other perspectives that I'll speak about. I want to elaborate on this point, so I'll speak about this resistance in more detail in a next slide. So let me keep it to that slide.
What are your advice to engage your team in practice?
For this specific one, we need to ensure that there is firstly a framework, information requirements defined by the client, and I think the most important part of an information requirement is the BIM goals and objectives. It defines everything. The whole information requirements is usually driven based on the BIM goals and objectives. So all stakeholders need to be aware of the client's BIM objectives, and then same should cascade to the all stakeholders. Every BIM expert in every organization should do this awareness part. They should ensure that their team are aware of the client's goals and objectives, and also they're aware of their BIM scope. And same applies for the client team. So BIM team at the client side, while they have the authority on other BIM teams, sometimes they don't have the authority on design team or construction team in their organization and in other organization under the client. So it's much better to have this communication always horizontally through each organization, so to ensure that this is understood in a correct way. So when a client requests a specific deliverable, everybody need to know the reason, what's the goal behind this, and what's the definition, or let's say the requirements for this specific deliverable.
So it's during the meeting, or you print it in the office, because we have this specific agile BIM approach. So we are very interesting in very practical way of doing things, because everybody say, okay, you have to collaborate, you have to know things, but in concrete, what is it? It's just you say this in meeting, but everybody is sleeping in meeting. So
yes, usually we should document this as part of the information requirements, and also it's recommended to move this documentation from the usual way where it's just PDFs or printouts into moving it into like a documentation common data environments. There are currently many solutions like Plannerly, like Morta, that can enable having this kind of documentation collaboratively available for the team members, and also to various teams, to have the information requirements together with BIM execution plans, together BIM management plan in one common data environment. Okay. So moving to next challenge is capabilities and capacity. So Saudi Arabia has huge amount of work currently, and most of these projects are running in parallel. There is a gap in the available skills in the market, and everybody is trying to attract the best talents. So I saw many examples of musical chairs where a great talent move from an organization to another during 1 year, and then to another organization, because there is a real challenge in finding good talents currently. But the main challenge here is not this gap. It's what happens because of this gap, because there are much more impact out of this gap. So some contractors, for example, will try to fill this gap by having a BIM sub-consultant. I'm not being objecting to the concept of having a BIM sub-consultant, but it's not the best solution for an organization. So if I will deliver BIM and I will get a sub-consultant to make these BIM deliverables for me, they will come and they will treat BIM as a deliverable. They will model, they will maybe generate shop drawings and give it to me, and I'll hand it to the contractor. I have done the contractual obligation, but I didn't benefit from BIM. So if a contractor wants to use a sub-consultant for BIM, they need to have them integrated into their team. It's important for your organization as either especially I think this is especially related to contractors, because I think the gap sometimes lies at the contractor side more. So we have the clients advancing, getting digital teams to fill their gaps. We have consultants already using BIM to deliver design, but sometimes contractors are the ones who lacks a proper BIM team. So when they go into a BIM consultant methodology, sometimes they are just getting an external party that's totally disconnected from the actual organization, and then the organization, which is the contractor, don't really benefit from BIM. They don't use the BIM models on site. They don't develop their quantities or schedules based on it. And even sometimes we notice this case more frequently when this happens, when we receive a clash-free BIM model, for example, and then we notice that the resolutions done in this BIM model are not realistic and can't be executed on site. That's because site team were not involved in clash resolution. Not only site team, sometimes specialists, sometimes design teams. So if you want to maximize your benefits from BIM, you need to have the BIM team integrated in your organization. And there are many BIM sub-consultants that do this effectively. So they come and they really get themselves, let's say, fully integrated in the team. They train the team. They ensure that they benefit from the BIM model. So another bad impact from this kind of gap is sometimes when we do the capability assessment for bidders. So currently I'm working at the BMC side, the project management side. So sometimes I review bids, and when we issue the RFP, we request the contractor to provide their actual status, what's their capabilities, what's their capacity. And sometimes some bidders don't have even a BIM team. They don't have any forecast for implementing BIM, and this results into what can I give him? I will give him, for example, 0 in the scoring, or if they have some few capabilities, they will have 1. But if you think about this scoring, so this is or this contractor or consultant are not capable to deliver BIM, but they are not assessed based on BIM only. So this 0 that they have represents only 1% or 2% or even 5%, 10% of their whole proposal. So sometimes, even if a bidder is not BIM capable, sometimes they will take the project because the capable contractors or consultants that are capable in BIM, they are already having huge workload. They are involved in much more projects other than this, so they didn't bid on this. All the bidder that you have low quality in the BIM deliverables. So this gap in capabilities and capacity for delivering BIM, if not fix it in a short term, this will result in having low quality BIM deliverables across great projects. So this is one of the challenges, and here I see also an opportunity for BIM experts. In Saudi Arabia, you meet every day lots and lots of international people working around you. So there is an opportunity for BIM skills from around the world. There is an opportunity for Saudi engineers and Saudi experts that can develop themselves into being BIM leads in the future. There is also an opportunity for BIM sub-consultants that not only want to take a contract and then go, but BIM consultants that will partner with your team and develop your team and really make your organization benefit from BIM.
I think it's a good time
to
ask
the question of Sergio Bilal.
Yeah, Sergio Ross, I hope my Spanish accent is good. So Sergio is asking, is it possible to integrate such consultants within the companies for an integrated delivery of the project? What's your opinion on that, Mostafa?
It's better.
Yeah, from my perspective, it's essential, and this is something that can't be enforced by clients. We try. As a representative for the client, I always advise contractors, okay, you got your sub-consultant, why I can't see this sub-consultant in your office? Why they are not here taking your team through the BIM model to see what's there? Why you have this problem on site while your BIM model shows as a clash-free model? So there is an opportunity on this, and it can happen, but it need to be driven by the contractor himself. So the lead consultant or the lead contractor who is getting this sub-consultant must be aware of this point. Don't treat BIM as delivering, let's say, a steel shipment that you will get it into site, give it or erect it on site and just leave it. BIM will elevate your organization. So if you are using a BIM sub-consultant, partner with them, ensure that their scope cover either training your team or being a part of your team. So partner with them rather than having them as just external team doing their part and going outside.
Okay.
I hope this responded.
It's clear.
Okay, so I will go to next slide. Okay.
Maybe you have another question from Aner Tiryaki. I hope my Turkish accent is good.
Yeah. Okay. I think. Yeah, I saw the question. How is a project going on like NEOM with a lack of BIM experts? No, I think you misunderstood me a little bit. There are lots of BIM experts in Saudi Arabia, but again, the size of work is much larger. So there are BIM experts delivering and doing their part, but from my perspective, the ideal BIM implementation is where you have all your team using BIM. It's not about having a BIM expert in your organization. It's about having your team as BIM experts. So is when you have the design manager, a BIM expert himself, he can open the BIM model, he can get the information directly from the BIM model, he can verify if this is coordinated or not. It's when also your site team can use the BIM model on site. It's when the red market drawings are not needed anymore because you record whatever changes immediately inside your BIM models. So it's just a gap between what's perfect and the current status. It's not a gap that will lead that you will not have BIM models. No, all of the projects at the moment have BIM models. All of the consultants and contractors are delivering BIM models, even if they are delivering it through external parties, even if the BIM models, the usability of the BIM models is not at its maximum. So just I hope this clarified the point. So yes, BIM is there, BIM experts are there, but there is much more benefit that can be taken from BIM in Saudi Arabia. Okay.
Yeah, I think we can move on. Thank you.
Yeah, going to this slide. Here's one of the challenges also from my point of view. It's the sizes of the projects, and here it's not only about the file sizes or about the amount of money or the contract, the value of the contract, but it's about the area. When I speak about the size of the project, I mean the huge area that this project is covering. NEOM, for example, this is based on the values that's published. So NEOM is around 26,000 kilometer. Red Sea Global covering 28,000 kilometers square. Roshan covering with all its projects. Roshan have lots and lots of projects around the country. Total 138 kilometers. Qudiyya 376 kilometers square. A project like 7 have multiple projects around the kingdom. These huge areas and the location of all of these projects away of each other and the large area of Saudi Arabia result in some limitation in the use of BIM. So sometimes we have to segregate the models in specific way just to fit this huge area, and this will result in some inability in reviewing the full project federated model, for example, in traditional BIM models or BIM software. So some of the solutions or some of the workflows that help in resolving this thing is the integration between BIM and GIS, and I'll speak about this in a later slide. And again, there is an opportunity for platforms, software in this. It's I hope that at some point we can open larger BIM models in much simpler devices without the need for going to a specific room that have a specific workstation to be able to process a specific model. So I see an area for development here also. Here, the interoperability. As I mentioned earlier, there is some dominance in the market, and I'm not saying that this is due to anything except that some of the software that's dominating the market are leading in their field. Okay, so that's fair, but at the other side, look from another perspective. As a BIM manager, you are not working alone. So your models should be integrated with other systems. So your BIM models at the end, most of the projects in Saudi Arabia have ambitious plans for implementing digital twins and having smart cities systems, and your BIM models can be used for this end goal. So having native files for BIM models make it a bit an obstacle for using these models in other systems. So in Saudi Arabia, we always recommend having an IFC format as an additional deliverable. So any BIM model or at most of the projects in Saudi Arabia is requested to be delivered in the native format plus an IFC export. Sometimes that's not an ideal scenario because even these IFC exports are just exports to satisfy the requirement or to fulfill the deliverable. I saw lots of IFC models submitted that I can guarantee or I can be sure that the submitter of this file has never opened it. When I receive the file, I do a check. I open this file and compare it to the original file. Lots of missing items in the exports. Even some elements, some slopes are not understood by the usual exporter. So exporting IFC, while it's currently a good way for guaranteeing some percent of future interoperability between the BIM files and any other system, and between the BIM files and other BIM files generated from other software. So these exports can be a solution at the moment, but there are much more to be done in this area. I think that IFC should be the native file at certain point in the near future. If we as BIM experts don't push for this, we as BIM experts will be the most people affected by this. If our BIM models are not used and reused, we are losing the whole purpose of BIM implementation. So IFC acts as this converter. It fits to everything. It's like USB-C for all the BIM formats. If we are able to encourage everyone to firstly deliver IFC, but verify it before delivering it, and then encouraging software vendors to shift into more trustable IFC deliverables, that would be great for the whole industry. One more thing is that I need to appreciate that many software developers at the moment are trying to achieve a kind of interoperability through integrations. So we see how APIs currently are used to connect Autodesk Construction Cloud with any other platform. We start seeing these integrations that creates this kind of interoperability while working, while collaborating. But still, these integrations, if not considering other systems rather than BIM, where BIM can be integrated with other systems, it's still not achieving a proper open BIM target.
So open BIM is the price of our freedom.
Totally agree. And we as the users should guarantee to ourselves the continuity of the BIM industry through open BIM, and also we should guarantee for our clients that their deliverables can be reused in the future. It's not only about they have us as the consultants. We have a software license. We can open your Revit file. You can see it at our site. But then after we exit, you need to buy software. You need to get proper training. You need to do lots of things, and then still you might not be able to integrate these BIM models with other systems. So it's an essential point. It's a long-term point. And again, this is not only Saudi Arabia's problem, it's a worldwide problem. But I think that the Saudi market position at the moment can result in lots of change around the world. I see that the amount of work done here and the amount of international experts being here in the market, there are much more change, positive changes that can be done starting from Saudi Arabia. So let's hope within 10 years we can have a better open BIM status. Okay, going to a next slide. It's a bit related to the interoperability, but on a different scale, where common data environments in Saudi Arabia, and again from my perspective, have some challenges. The security challenges, where lots of these common data environments, the solutions available in market, don't have local data centers. This triggers a security aspects. Most of our clients don't like this. They need the data to be in the country, and that's a fair point of view. And this is again an opportunity for software providers and platform providers. Please take this as a serious point. Work on it. This will help all of us. Then another point is the compatibility. In large projects, it's almost impossible to use one central common data environment. We tried this, we planned for this, but not there is no one solution as of today that can fit all the users for all the information in a project, especially when the size is huge. So this result in us accepting several solutions and trying to ensure that they are compatible. And this having several common data environments don't interdict with the concept of the international ISO standards. So while ISO states or request having common data environment and specify the process, however, the process can involve a central common data environment or a solution that's made of several common data environment. The challenge that we face here is that not all the solutions available at the market are compatible with each other. Sometimes the folder structures, for example, here is not like here. So if you want to transfer the data from a specific common data environment into another one, it will not directly fit into a specific place. And still, there are some common data environments that have limitations in naming conventions. Some common data environments are not even a collaboration common data environment. It's just a storage, a cloud storage. So this kind of compatibility is a challenge. Then another point is the compliance with the standards. So many of the solutions available in the market are not complying with ISO 19650 process. They don't enable the users to be ISO 19650 compliant. And for this specific one, I think the blame goes to the contractor or the consultant who is actually implementing this kind of common data environment, and also goes back to if the client didn't specify at least a specific common data environment or a set of approved common data environments that can be used in this project. Sorry, I think I have a mosquito here. Sorry. Okay, so again, the common data environment, it's one of the challenges because you can't deliver and engage the whole team members and the whole stakeholders in the project if you don't have a proper common data environment. But I see a huge space for improvement in the current common data environment. I don't want to mention specific solutions at the moment, but there are many good solutions that's missing few aspects that can be improved to be more suitable for Saudi projects. Okay, so I think this is the last slide in the challenges part, and I call it the return of investment dilemma, because lots of organizations focus on studying the return of investment of BIM. I want to tell any leadership member or any leader at any organization in not only in Saudi market but in the construction industry, this discussion about the return of investment of BIM is an outdated discussion. You can't be in 2023 and still discussing what will be the return of investment in BIM. This is exactly similar. A friend of mine that I really appreciate their perspective gave me the metaphor when they put BIM as mobile phones. You can't today speak about the return of investment of buying a phone. It's currently a common sense. However, I want to just highlight, because I understand that some of my colleagues, the BIM experts in the global construction market, are still facing this obstacle when they want to convince their leadership team to please let's try to develop ourselves in the BIM aspects or in the digital aspect, and they face this delivery. I will focus on some specific points. Firstly, in Saudi Arabia, you will not be able to work in a huge project if you don't have proper BIM capabilities. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, if you can't benefit from the BIM models, that's your problem. It's because you are not capable. So it's not about what will happen if I don't. What will happen if I implement BIM? It's more about your way of implementation. If you don't become capable in digital delivery in general, you are missing a huge opportunity. You are missing the real value of BIM. And if you are looking at BIM as just a deliverable, that just a burden or just a heavy load that you have to do, you are missing the point behind BIM. So if I am a contractor, I will immediately think about using BIM for not for more income, but I'll think about it for more efficiency. I will have my scheduling more efficient. I'll have my costing estimations more efficient. On a personal level, during my work at the contractor side, I was lucky somehow at certain level to have the flexibility from the leadership team to start implementing BIM in even in very early stages of the project. Whenever we received an RFP, we immediately developed a BIM model for it. Firstly, we ask if the designer has submitted the BIM model, and if this is accessible to us. We used it to plan for the project. We used it to imagine the project. We used it to have more accurate estimations. We developed, used BIM and developed BIM whenever needed to develop better estimates, which resulted in more wins, which resulted in better understanding to our actual income from the project. Or it's more about when you see it and when you are able to quantify it in using BIM, that give you the better understanding of your project. Again, if you are a contractor and you are implementing BIM or delivering an LOD 400 model because you are requested to do so, if that's your deliverable and you are delivering a steel model up to LOD 400 but not actually using it to fabricate, you are missing a huge point of saving. You are missing a huge amount of money that can be saved using BIM. So you need to actually use the BIM models rather than thinking about them as just a deliverable or just something that you must do it. Start thinking about it from a mutual benefit. So the client need me to deliver BIM. I will not model the BIM models to give it to the client only, but I'll model the BIM models to benefit my organization. And same applies for all the stakeholders. If you are just a small sub-consultant, or if you are a consultant, a design consultant, a contractor, the whole supply chain. So if you are a supervision consultant and you have a BIM scope, you must benefit from this in enhancing your supervision to the project. If you are just taking the BIM scope as I will review the contractor's BIM models, you are missing the opportunity. This is your organization that can be immediately enhanced, and their way of delivering their projects, their quality is being not maximized. You are losing the potential because you are not understanding what BIM is at the moment. So I think that this whole discussion about return of investment in BIM is no more valid. It's outdated. As an organization in 2023, you need to study BIM as a cost. You have to do it. But then, okay, you understand the cost, you understand the software, you understand the talents that you need to have, you understand what need to be done, the actual implementation of BIM in your organization. But then, instead of thinking about the money that you will get, on the other hand, you need to start thinking on actually implementing BIM at every single part of your process. Implement it in procurement, implement it in fabrication, implement it in design, implement it in shop drawing, implement it. It's more of when you have this what we human do with a goat or a cow. We take the flesh, we take the wool, we take everything of it. BIM can be integrated in all your processes, and instead of just standing from outside thinking about what I will benefit about BIM, start, please. You are currently late. You must start and try to make the maximum benefit immediately. So that's again my perspective. Maybe somebody will say, no, you are wrong, Mostafa. BIM will make me lose. I will not do it. I still can deliver with my traditional way. But believe me, in very few years, you will be struggling to get back on track.
I'm totally agree with you, and I think we under-evaluate the benefit that a company could have to move to BIM. But it's a change, and it's not so easy to change. That's probably the point.
True.
But after, yes,
sure.
a lot of side effects that could be very beneficial for the company and for next project.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, so I think this section is finished, and I think the next part was related to any agile methods, any new innovations that's used for that's benefiting from BIM, or let's say using BIM in Saudi Arabia, or used to implement BIM. And here I'll speak about 3 specific items that I see growing very fast, and the nature of the projects in Saudi Arabia is reinforcing them, and the stakeholders in these projects is reinforcing them. So the first technology, or the first innovative part that's growing, it's not something new, but it's growing rapidly, which is BIM and GIS integration. As I mentioned earlier, projects in Saudi Arabia are huge and scattered in the whole kingdom. It's essential to have your projects geolocated correctly. You have to have your projects located correctly in the context of the natural or the existing conditions. So there is a need in Saudi Arabia to have BIM and GIS integrations, and there is a growing implementation of these approaches. Sometimes it's not at all the levels of stakeholders. So sometimes we see this BIM and GIS integration is at the client level, where they want to benefit from all the BIM deliverables and use it into a geographic context. So this is growing, and there are the tools in the market that reinforces this is developing. I saw many of Autodesk software recently started to be linked with Esri software. So Autodesk and Esri are so both organizations, they saw this opportunity and they worked on it, and they currently have Civil 3D, Autodesk InfraWorks, and hopefully soon we can see Revit integrated with ArcGIS. And they also developed a solution called GeoBIM. No much use of GeoBIM at the moment, to be honest, or as per my own information, but this link and this geographic context of the BIM models opened a new area for development, new area of utilization for the BIM models, and new area of verification. So one of the common use of this application at the moment of BIM and GIS integration is to verify the master plan against what's actually built. So we have the master plan in GIS format. We have also the existing project boundary, and we have the designed models, and then later we can also get as-built models to compare it with regulations, to compare it with boundaries. Lots of applications can be done here. And before I continue, I'm not sure, Francois, if we have a time limit. I see that.
Yeah, it's more or less no, but if you have some more slide, could be interesting. And after I have 2 or 3 questions.
Okay, so
the future is always interesting.
Great. So I still have some time for sure, and I still have some slides that I want to go through. So I'll go to the next slide. And I think the recording will be available. If anybody can't continue, they can also see the recording. So the second thing that's quickly growing in the market is business intelligence integration. The common software used for that is Power BI. Power BI integrations with GIS and with BIM is growing. While Power BI on its own, the use of Power BI on its own is growing rapidly because it's a great software. The concept of being able to visualize information in that interactive way, that's great. Then integrating BIM and GIS with business intelligence gives a whole new dimension. So when you can visualize the data and link it with the BIM models, that gives you a whole new aspect here. There are many solutions that are working on this kind of integration, like VCAD, like VIM, like Pixel. It has this capability. So many solutions and much more are working on it. And I have a separate presentation on this that was part of Autodesk University last year. If you want more information on this, also you can find more resources on this through I don't remember the name at the moment. The organization, yeah, it's a Strategy. So they are doing great job. It's run by 2 of close friends. They are doing great work using business intelligence integration with BIM and GIS, and there is great potential for it because it helps all the stakeholders to be involved. It helps decision makers to understand the context of the information by having the BIM models connected to it. The next growing application or BIM use or utilization of BIM models at the moment is digital twin. Almost all the large projects in Saudi Arabia have ambition plans, and not only plans, actually they are working on that, on having digital twin and using digital twin to run their projects. Briefly, digital twin concept, if in case somebody is not aware of it, is to have a digital representation of the physical asset and to get a connection between the digital and the physical asset. This connection can be one way or two ways. The ideal definition of the digital twin is when you have this connection bi-direction, where the sensors, for example, can report to the digital twin, and when the digital twin can switch on or switch off items in the physical world. So that's briefly what it is. And if your project don't have BIM models and you want to create a digital twin, you will go and scan the project, laser scan it, or use any reality capture technique to capture this reality and then work on it, then segregate it and try to assign the information to it. So if you are a developer and you have BIM models that's being created for 3-4 years during the delivery phase of the asset, you have consultants and contractors delivering BIM models. Why don't you ensure that these BIM models can be utilized as your digital twin by implementing proper asset information model requirements? So by also reinforcing this culture among your contractors and consultants. Your contractors and consultants need to understand the end goal of their models, what these models will be used for. So I see this as a growing application and a growing BIM use, and all the clients now request that their BIM models can be utilized. However, there is a bit or a part that need to be done on the asset information model definition part to ensure that these BIM models can be fully integrated into a digital twin solution. The next section in this presentation, I'll speak about a typical BIM process in most of the projects in Saudi Arabia. It can be similar to any typical BIM process in the world. I will not focus on the modeling part, and in this section I'll also pass by two examples that two projects mainly I personally worked in, which are the Raya Gate project, Wadi Safar. This is a 60 square kilometer district beside the Raya Gate, and part of the Raya Gate project. It have lots of assets and landscaping. It have villas, hotels, very luxurious hotels. It have golf course, equestrian. It have lots of assets, and we have lots and lots of stakeholders involved in this project. And this project is also, as I mentioned, part of the Raya Gate project, which is much larger project with much more stakeholders. So you will not understand the complexity of the communication, just the communication between stakeholders, unless you understand the hierarchy of the project. lots of information about this project is not for publishing, so I will not go into the details, but wanted to give you the brief before jumping into the typical BIM process. And another project is MESC City, the schools. Me personally worked on this also for a similar scope. Both projects, I was the BMC, BIM lead, so managing the BIM process. And in the last slide, I'll speak about the difference between the BIM management plan and the BIM execution plan to give you a little insight on this. And there is a great video for the MESC City School going through the modeling of these schools. You can search for it. It's available online. And I will not play it now due to the time, but you can go through it and you'll see one of the best uses of BIM for visualization. Okay, so when it comes to the process in most of the projects implementing BIM on large scale in Saudi Arabia, we refer to ISO 19650. And while ISO 19650 terminology is a bit different, but the framework in general is the same. So we have activities done by the client at the assessment and need stage, or ideally done at the assessment and need stage, which is a very early stage of the project where they are defining the requirements. Sometimes these requirements are a bit delayed, but typically it should be there at this point, and the client try to have it before any appointments. And we have activities that's done through the project life cycle. We have the appointment, and we have the the invitation to tender. We have the the mobilization stage, and we have also the production stage. So we have activities done and information requirements done by the client at these stages. It's very common to for any contractor or consultant to get involved in these projects, and they receive a set of documents or a 500-page of information requirements, where some contractors usually will not look at it till they sign the contract, and then they are surprised with what did we sign exactly. So anyway, the process itself is there, and lots of consultants and contractors are complying with it, but lots also are not even understanding why we have a document called information requirements. But clients are really doing good jobs at the moment to have their requirements defined, and then they have iterations for defining the requirements to ensure that there is a reference to what's actually needed from BIM in the project. Again, as a typical project, there is always project requirements, a set of requirements, as I mentioned, done by the client or by a consultant on behalf of the client, where they define the information requirements, the information standards, information protocols, and there are difference between these three items. Mainly, the protocol is more about responsibilities and who does what when. The standards is more about the standards to be followed. It's not about what's required. It's about how it will be delivered. And then the production methods and the procedures. This goes into the details of, for example, what an LOD 300 column shall look like in case we used the LOD numbering system, this kind of LOD 100 to 100. In case this is implemented, these procedures should define what it is. And also some templates to support the delivery, a BIM execution plan template, a Revit template, Civil 3D template, quality checklist template. So many templates are usually provided by the client. And then a common data environment. This is as I mentioned, somehow a challenge currently. Some clients will only deliver an electronic data management system, will define an electronic data management system only, and will leave the common data environment for consultants to define them based on their preference. But many clients also will define the exact common data environment to be used, and also they define the delivery milestones. In Saudi Arabia, there is no national guidance for BIM, but the most used and the most relevant guidance that can support delivery as per ISO 19650 is the UK BIM framework guidance. And I'm not saying this because currently I'm NEMA ambassador, but I have been using UK BIM framework on personal level since it was issued, and it helped me a lot in understanding ISO 19650. Have lots of information, lots of examples, and I always recommend anyone who want to implement BIM as per ISO 19650, you should read this set of documents in detail. Then project stakeholders. So this diagram is from the UK BIM framework, and it also have a similar diagram in ISO 19650. This is the usual segregation of parties as per ISO 19650. I'll explain it quickly to make it a bit relevant when I speak about the current stakeholders in a typical Saudi project. So we have the appointing party, and we have these areas, which is the delivery teams. So imagine this circle as a specific consultant responsible to deliver the design of a specific asset. And imagine this other circle as a contractor that's delivering that will be constructing the same asset. So as per ISO 19650, and because the consultant is directly contracted by the client and the contractor is directly contracted by the client, based on that, this one is a lead appointed party and this one is a lead appointed party. So B represents the party that have direct contractual relation with the client. And then these C teams are smaller teams. These teams can be teams of a specific entity, or they can be a sub-consultant or a subcontractor under this lead appointed party. So if I have two consultants working on the same design, but both have a contract with me as a client, I would consider both as a lead appointed party. Unless there is in my contract with them, I will specify who is leading the delivery and who is just a team following the lead. Okay, so typically anyone that's appointed by the client is a lead appointed party, and their teams, their sub-consultants, are just these smaller C's appointed parties. So in Saudi Arabia, most of the projects have the client at the top, and the client has a digital team or a BIM team. This BIM team has scope. Then there is usually a PMO, project management office, that have a BIM team or a BIM lead that have different BIM scope from the client. We have project management consultants, PMCs, for different projects, and these project management consultants has BIM teams with different scopes, lead design consultants and design consultants, supervision consultants, and general contractors. All of these entities are usually contracted by the client, but usually they deliver based on this hierarchy. So usually the client defines their requirements, the PMO helps in standardizing this across all the projects. The PMC manages the delivery, and the lead design consultant deliver and is responsible for the delivery of all his design consultants during the stage from concept or pre-concept to IFC stage, where they issue an IFC package, and then the scope of delivery goes to the general contractor, where they deliver during construction and handover, and their deliverables are revised by the supervision consultant and verified by the project management consultant. So I insisted on repeating the word that every BIM team in these entities have a totally different scope, because I saw, let's say, PMCs where the design team inside the project management consultant, or the construction team as the project management consultant, they go to the BIM manager or the BIM expert or the BIM lead inside their own organization and ask them to model BIM models. I saw this. Or ask them to why don't you take the contractor's model and edit it if needed and submit it. I saw this at some organizations and at some projects where the BIM scope for every organization is not defined, and BIM scope and BIM responsibilities as per ISO 19650, it's no more related to the title of the expert or the personnel. So in previous standards, for example, PAS 1192, there was definition for project information manager, task information manager, interface manager, and then responsibilities for each title. But in ISO 19650, it's no more related to what title you are. You can be a BIM manager or you can be a BIM specialist at each of these organizations, but it's all about your responsibilities. So a responsibility matrix is a key deliverable in such projects. Responsibility matrix on the organization's level. So every organization should be aware of their responsibilities related to BIM. And then for each of these teams, a responsibility matrix should be available to specify the BIM personnel's scopes. So the BIM manager is doing 1, 2, 3. The BIM coordinator is doing 1, 2, 3. For me, it's essential, because it's bypassing the issue that we spent years trying to think about it. What are the actual job description for a BIM manager? This is somehow not valid. It's at the moment. Somehow we need to focus on the responsibilities. So if you are looking for an opportunity and you saw a job post for a BIM manager, before applying to it, you need to understand, or even after applying, to apply anyway. That's good for you. But after applying to it, please ask, what's the organizational role? So this BIM manager will be part of a PMC or part of a lead design consultant or part of a contractor. You need to understand this to have better understanding for the expected responsibilities from the organization, and you need also to understand the expected detailed responsibilities from you. This is a current fact. Yes, I know it will be better for all of us if we have fixed roles and responsibilities across the industry, but the current status is that it's governed by the actual responsibilities defined either in the information requirements or by the organization itself. So focus on the responsibilities, and based on this, and due to the role of what was usually called as the BIM champion, this is still not very clear, and it's usually confused with a BIM manager role. And actually, the BIM manager, sometimes he's not actually managing the BIM process. Sometimes he's a BIM manager but delivering. So me personally, I prefer the use of the term a BIM lead. So I want to know who is the BIM lead at the PMC, who is the BIM lead at the lead design consultant, who is the BIM lead at this organization, and this is combined with the responsibilities for the BIM lead and his team. Okay, so that's as I mentioned, typical. However, I saw projects that's not following this. Some projects don't have PMCs. Some of their responsibilities are delegated to the client or the BMO. Some projects will not have a separate supervision consultant. Their responsibilities is given to the project management consultant. And some projects have a BMC managing another BMC. So I saw projects where a BMC is responsible for their scope and another BMC scope below them. So you might see variations of this. If you are working in BIM or delivering anything related to BIM, focus on the responsibilities, what's actually requested from you, and when you are delivering, specify and deliver a RACI metric, a responsibility matrix with your deliverable.
Okay, it's a good advice, Mostafa. I'm sorry because we have to finish in a few minutes. I don't know if
Almost
you
there. I think
other
2 more
slide, but
slides. Yeah. I will conclude now. So in addition to the requirements I mentioned earlier, there are also appointments requirements. So as a client, sometimes you will need to specify more detailed information related to a specific contract when you need more or less BIM requirements from this contract. The BIM execution plan, it's an important document for any stakeholder that's not a client. For the client, you need to define the requirements, but for a contractor or consultant, your BIM execution plan is your cover for anything. You need to specify who will be delivering. You need to specify your strategy. You need to specify the federation strategy, the responsibility matrix, and any amendments or anything that you think you will not be able to deliver. You need to specify the hardware, software, the mobilization plan. So the BIM execution plan for any consultant or contractor is essential. And just one point here, in older BIM standards, the BIM execution plan was the master document for delivery, but now the exchange information requirement is the master document, and BIM execution plan is more of a response to it. Essential to have a level of information need defined for every kind of element in the models. We usually have these metrics specifying what's expected. So instead of saying I need LOD 300, most of the projects currently in Saudi Arabia have a level of information need matrix that define at construction stage the contractor need to deliver the columns with this specific geometry, with this specific attributes, and this requires lots of or let's say 1 more hour to explain this concept, but it's one of the main features implemented here. Last slide, it's about the BIM management plan. It's another document. It's not a BIM execution plan, but it's more relevant to project management consultant, where they specify how they will manage the BIM process through the project. I will not go to the detail, noting the time, and sorry to extend that much, but the main feature that I want to say that's becoming the typical in Saudi Arabia is that BIM is no more a geometrical deliverable. It's more about the information and the process of the BIM delivery. And while some BIM uses are not implemented in the best way at the moment, this is changing rapidly, and I see the future have much and much more utilization of the BIM models. So thank you. That was it, and I'm not sure if we have time for questions and answers. You, Francois, can decide.
No, thank you very much. It was a great overview of the situation of BIM in Saudi Arabia. And yes, I'm sorry we have a few questions, but we don't have any time. Just one, because I think a lot of people are watching you, and because they are interested in working on with BIM in Saudi Arabia. So if there is the question of honor, is there any specific certification for BIM experts in Saudi Arabia?
Not issued by Saudi Arabia, but some certifications related to the software is recommended if you will be working at the production side, and if you will something like Autodesk certified professional in Revit. If the project is using Revit, such a certification is important or added value. Same applies to any other software. If you are using Bentley or Archicad, any software certification will be an added value. Same applies if your role is related to information management. I personally always recommend certifications issued by BRE, certifications issued by Ziggurat. I'm an ambassador for Ziggurat also, but that's not the reason. Really, the masters of Ziggurat is comprehensive. So when I see a candidate that have this BRE certificate, because the assessment is tough, I know that he really understands ISO 19650. Same applies for Ziggurat. Same applies for RICS and Oberon Academy. They have very good, and BSI for sure. They have very good certifications, but the assessment part of these certifications is not very strict. So it depends on your commitment when you apply to these certificates. So these are recommended certificates. However, you rarely will find that a client is specifically requesting this one, but I'm sure they will add value for anyone to want to work in information management in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have a lot of good reaction, fantastic presentations.
So thank you.
Thank you.
All the attendees, thank you, Mostafa.
Thank you.
Very Nigel, and also I would say to invite you, all of you, for the next session next year. I think we will travel. Maybe we're gonna travel in Europe. So I'm gonna make some in the last of December for the next World match for the World Cup of BIM. So maybe you're gonna come back in Europe and travel around some countries. So you're invited to be part of this.
Do you know the next country, Bilal?
I think it's a surprise.
France. I think your voice is breaking, but I think you said France.
It's a surprise.
No, it's France.
Okay.
Maybe in France. Okay.
If any one of you are interested in presenting, you can contact us and discuss what you want to talk about. For example, if you belong to a country which has not presented yet, there is many countries that are not presented. So feel free to contact us.
Yes, but very impressive with Saudi Arabia. I work a little bit for the lucid car factory and to the big work.
And see you next time.
See
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
everyone.
See
Thank you, Mostafa.
Thank
you,
you,
Sebastian.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.